y'all. Welcome back to the Yes We Can podcast. My guest today is a very special woman. Her name is Betty Mertens, and she and her husband lost their first baby to a congenital heart defect. She's going to tell you her whole story. She is doing amazing, wonderful things. And so I'm excited for her to share her story. I don't want to steal too much of your thunder, but thank you for the show or coming on the show.
Oh my gosh, what an honor to be on it. Yeah. This is so fun. I love when we connect just over lunch, but this is even cooler because now we can talk about it in a way where we can get visibility to stuff that people need to hear about. Hopefully it'll be encouraging.
Absolutely. And you and I met. We've had a couple people say, we need to connect. Like over the years, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden we decided, all right, well, let's really get together. So we met at Flower Child and talked forever. I was late to my meeting. I'm sure you were late to yours.
I was late to a video shoot.
Yeah, exactly. And then we met again and again, talked for, we clicked right away. I think you are amazing and I cannot wait for you to share your story. But let's start with who you are, where you're from. Start us from the beginning.
Yeah, so I'm Betty. I grew up in the St. Louis area. I went to the Foxy 6 school district. Where did you go to high school question. I went to Seckman, and I loved it, but then moved away for college because my dad got a job in Minnesota. So I went to the U of M my freshman year, ended up staying in Minnesota for college, transferred to a private university, University of Northwestern, not to be confused with Northwestern University, two different, not in Chicago. But I love the University of Northwestern, and it was a really good launch pad for me. I made great relationships, and actually was I didn't realize this at the time, but the first female student body president that they ever had. I found that out after I was elected. People were like, did you run on that? I'm like, no, I kept saying just pick me because I can and do a good job.
Student body president. That's amazing.
Student body president.
How big was that school, by the way?
Great question. I have no idea how many students they had at the time or how many they have now. I can circle back.
No, you know what? That is not vital. I just was wondering why from University. Wait, where'd you start? U of M.
U of M.
A big school. Why and how did you transfer to the smaller school?
Well, I really had a passion for theater. And my very first show that they did at the U of M was Rocky Horror Picture Show. Oh. And I was kind of like, wow, I think this is maybe not the place for me. That's
hilarious.
Yeah, I went to the auditions. I did not realize we were going to go down this path, but I had this very poignant moment where the student theater was holding auditions, and they were calling people in, and I was in the area where they were auditioning for the lead. And the woman that they shared with that she was the lead, she came running out of the audition room and she's like, I got it. And all of her friends are like, yeah. And they're all hugging. And there was another girl who was sitting there waiting for her callback, and she started crying.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh no, I don't want to be that girl. And I definitely don't want to be that girl. So I think this is not the place for me. I think I need to find what else is calling to me.
Yeah.
And so I had some connections at the University of Northwestern, and it's a Christian university.
Awesome.
Their theater department was phenomenal. And so I transferred there partly because of theater, but then I ended up switching to communications and business. I have always been a storyteller. And so that kind of set up the stage for my career. I'm now in marketing. I'm the director of client success at Upbrand, which is the marketing agency that represents emos and Lion's Choice and
awesome,
and also like nonprofits and some like retirement community homes, like all kinds of things. So it's been a ride, but University of Northwestern helped me kind of get my grounding.
Awesome.
And true story, when I was thinking about running for student government, I talked to someone in the student development office, and I said, hey, do you know anyone who would want to run as a president? I think I would be an excellent vice president. And she said, why don't you run as a president? And I was like, well, I'm really like a supportive, like let's go do this. Like that's kind of my MO. And she's like, you're very capable. I think you should find someone to be your vice president. And so then she encouraged me, Tony, encouraged me to run. And then I got elected. Come to find out I was the first. And it really set me on this path of like, I can do anything.
Yep. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So right after I graduated, I got a master's degree in organizational leadership because I was wildly interested in just understanding how to lead teams well. And their program was really based in servant leadership, which speaks to my heart. So I did that. And then I moved to St. Louis for a job. And I was working in the technology space, like B2B, working for a company called Landis & Gear that does like automated meter reading for utilities. So very niche.
Sounds very exciting.
Super. Yeah. Lots of dudes in that field and also great people. I think I learned so much in working there. They also paid for me to go get an MBA. And that's where I met my Kyle. Is in a project management class. So the two of us connected. He's super witty. It took him a minute to convince me to give him the time of day because I thought he was way too young for me. But it turns out that he's really a class act. And
how much younger?
Okay. Everyone gives us grief about this. He really is only a couple years younger than me, but when I met him, he looked like a teenager. And because I already had a master's degree and I felt like I was everyone's grandmother, maybe because my name is Betty and I like gardening, I'm not sure. But I sort of like stepped into this mother hen role in every relationship in my life. Like I owned a house and I had people that were renting from me. And I'm like the one that people came to for career advice. So then I meet Kyle and he genuinely, to me at the time, looked like a teenager, but he's very mature, like very smart. Yeah. To this day, the most capable man I know. And
sounds like a good match.
Yeah. So that's what he said. And I was kind of like, how old are you again? And he's like, I'm not that much younger than you. And I was like, all right, we'll give it a shot. And then it worked out. Aww. He ended up being such a great life partner for me.
Oh, I love that.
He's kind of the yin to my yang, but we connected on our desire to have a plan. We're both very motivated. We were both very invested in our careers. So we kind of said, like, let's finish our MBAs. We'll go do some fun travel together, and then we'll get pregnant with our first kid. Once that kid grows and is out of diapers, then we'll have a second kid, you know, the whole...
Yeah, you plan it all out.
Picket fence, yeah. So everything was kind of on the rails for us initially. We finished our MBAs, we went and we did some fun travel, and then we started settling down, and we got pregnant with Ella. Aww. And when we had her, I mean, she had us wrapped around her fingers. Like,
and your pregnancy was good, no issues?
It was. If I'm being real, I did struggle with postpartum depression because it was...
please be real.
Such a life shift for me, and I struggled with nursing, and I just remember that my husband would go to work, and I would be like a little bit angry deep down. Like, your life is going back to normal and my life is never going to be the same. And also I am uncomfortable and I don't know how to love this little human well. And I want all the best things for her. And I feel somehow inadequate. And this is not how it's supposed to feel. I'm just supposed to be elated all the time.
I totally felt the same way.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of moms do. And they don't, I mean, we don't really normalize it. It's like motherhood is such a treat.
And it is a treat. It is. But it also has some spiciness to it, too.
Yes.
And I think if we talk about it, again, that's the point of this show, is it's real life happens. And like, some people don't want to talk about it or don't talk about it, but we're going to talk about it here because we know that there's people watching right now who either are in that camp, have been in that camp, and we want everybody to know that it is normal.
Totally.
That we all go through it and no one shouts from the rooftop, I have postpartum anxiety. I have postpartum depression. You just suffer and you think that
you're the only one. Because everyone else on
Yes.
Instagram and Facebook looks like they've got it figured out.
And you're supposed to be motherly. It's natural.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, sorry.
No, totally. You're not alone if you're feeling like that. Yes. And I wish that more people would have said that to me, that I was perfectly normal.
Yeah.
But anyway, we made it through. We made it through Ella's whole first year of life, and everything was great. She hit all her milestones.
Awesome.
And right around her first birthday was the first sign that anything was wrong. She got what we thought was a cold. She was kind of wheezing. She was a little lethargic. And then she started vomiting. And anyone who is like in the healthcare profession knows that those are heart failure symptoms. We didn't realize it at the time. We thought like, oh no, what if she has RSV? So we took her in, long story abbreviated. We got her to Children's Hospital. They could see that her heart was way bigger than it should be, but they didn't know why because there was no history of heart disease.
And nothing when she was a baby, when she first initially. Mm-mm. So wait, let's talk about the symptoms of heart failure are, can you list them?
Yeah. So at least in Ella's case, she was really tired. She was kind of wheezing, like you could just tell. We thought, she had pneumonia. In fact, when we first took her in, that's what they said. They said, we think she has bilateral pneumonia. So they had kept her overnight at Progress West, and they were treating her for pneumonia. And when her case didn't turn any better overnight, they were like, whoop, this is something else, and we need to send her to Children's. Anytime their lips are turning blue, if they're starting to lose color, that's a signal that they don't have good oxygen. That's also what causes the lethargy, and throwing up is a heart failure symptom. So those things together, it didn't trigger anything for us because we had no idea.
Your first-time parents.
First-time parents, and we were like, shoot, I hope she doesn't have RSV. But this was much worse. And when we got into the hospital, they were asked us all the questions. They were trying to figure out the root of the issue. Their best guess at the time, they took a full genetic blood panel and they said, this is going to take a minute because we don't know what we're looking for. So they sent that off to be processed. And in the meantime, they said, we guess, our best guess is that a virus has kind of gotten into her heart and then her muscle is inflamed. Her heart muscle is inflamed, and that's what's causing it to be large. We're going to treat her for that inflammation and see if we can get the heart to normalize so that she can effectively pump the blood to her body. She had enough of an improvement that they actually discharged her from the hospital, sent her home, and we were like expecting that we were on the road to recovery. We knew she would be probably on some medication for the next year, but we thought we were out of the woods. And so then it was on Kyle's 30th birthday that she went to daycare like a normal day. And Kyle and I went to work. I was interviewing someone actually for an internship when daycare called me and said, hey, we're really concerned about Ella. Her lips are blue and she's just like she's not acting like herself. And I said, you need to hang up with me right now and call 911. I'm coming to you to see if you can get them to take her to Children's Hospital. So I'm driving there as fast as I can.
You just knew.
I just knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, we need to get her into the care of medical professionals.
Right.
So I'm hustling to the daycare, and as I'm driving there, they call me back and say, hey, the ambulance is here. They need to take her to the closest hospital because she's not getting enough oxygen. And so they're not going to take her to Children's. They're just going to take her over here to the closest hospital.
Can't they give her oxygen in the...
They can, but it's just like their protocol is when you have a child with a breathing issue, they need to get to the closest care.
Okay.
I was like, okay, whatever they need to do, I will meet them at that hospital and we'll figure out what needs to happen.
Right.
So we get there, and she, at this point, is, scared, but also like you can just tell she's so tired. And so Kyle and I showed up around the same time, and they told us, we do need to get her to Children's, but we're going to airlift her because she's critical. And we were like, okay, still at this moment for me, I'm like, everything's going to be okay. She's here. She's with medical professionals. Right. And I think as a mom, you just kind of willfully disbelieve that anything else could be true. You need to have that hope. Right. I actually was just talking with Jen Hinkle about this. It's a self-protection thing. And so I'm like, all right, well, we got to get a car to Children's and only one of us can ride in the chopper. So Kyle said, I'll go ahead and drive over there. I'll meet you there. And so he leaves. We wait. The chopper comes. And when the paramedics get there, they say, okay, we are going to need to keep her very calm because she's in critical condition. But the helicopter's really loud. And also we need to fix her breathing tube. So we're going to get her just a little sedation so we can fix the breathing tube and get her into the helicopter and keep her very calm. And I said,
whatever you got to do.
You do what you need to do. And so they administered the sedation, and she just closed her eyes. And that's when she flatlined. And even in the moment when she flatlined, there was nothing to me that was like, oh my gosh, like this could be the end. I was like, guys, we got to do your magic things, do your doctor things.
Right.
So I call Kyle, and Kyle's like, how did I beat you here? You have a helicopter and I have a car. And I said, listen, Kyle, I just need to share with you that Ella is having some issues. She flatlined. But don't worry,
Are they working on her at this point?
The whole time in the background, they're like trying to resuscitate her. They didn't use the paddles or anything. They were doing CPR.
Were you I mean, I'm not even going to ask that.
Well, deep down, I have to tell you, like I was so in shock. There was nothing that even occurred to me. Like my daughter has just passed away. Like I'm thinking in my head, and I told Kyle on the phone, don't worry, the paramedics are here. They're taking care of it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And Kyle's like, I'm sorry, she what? She flatlined? So I put him on video, and one of the nurses was kind of like holding the phone for me, because I'm like, listen, I know how to get her out of this. Whenever she's like having a moment, she has a favorite song. Like everyone knew her favorite song was Que Sera Sera. Because at the end of it, I would always sing, the future's not ours to see, Ella Marie. So it was like her song. And now I realize like how serendipitous that is, that was her song.
Oh my goodness.
But so I go to the head of the bed, and I'm thinking like this magic song is somehow going to fix everything. And I'm singing over her, and I don't even remember when they stopped compressions. Everybody just stepped back. And the next thing that I remember is that they're all looking at me, and I'm just singing, and the room is so quiet. And so I stop singing, and I look at one of the nurses, and I say, I'm sorry, I just need someone to pinch me because I'm having a very vivid nightmare, and I just need to wake up. And she said, this is not a nightmare. She's gone.
Why?
And
how? I mean, they can't.
I'm like, you have to be able to do something.
Right. At what point? How much time? Like, was it a time thing? Like, how did they know?
Yeah. Well, I think she had been without oxygen long enough. They hadn't been able to bring her back. Her heart just wasn't strong enough. So now on this side of it, we know she needed a transplant. So 6 weeks after she passed, the results of that genetic panel came back. And they brought Kyle and I in and explained to us, your daughter has a very rare genetic defect. It doesn't even have a cute name. It's like a troponin something chromosome. I don't know. I have it written down. But it's not like a condition that we would have known about. And they said, we need you guys to both give us a blood sample so we can test, because it's 99.9% sure that one of you has it. And we were like, yes, take our blood now. And they said, the good news is because we know what we're looking for, it won't take very long. We'll get the test right back right away. Had we known that this is what was going on with Ella, she would have immediately gone on a heart transplant list. They shared with us the result that Kyle actually does also have it. And they told him, your daughter saved your life by making you aware of this thing. And I think that is something that he has really had to carry as a dad, because even though he never would have chosen this for her,
he would have laid down his life for her, no question.
Exactly. He said, my one job as her daddy is to protect her, and instead I gave her the thing that killed her, and she saved my life. And so he has really wrestled with that.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine.
He also has really struggled with the fact that it happened on his birthday.
It's
just not fair.
Again, it's so hard when you're in it, but hearing the story, I'm like, God is in this story. Like, he is weaved throughout. Like, there's a reason. And I hate when people say, well, but I mean, there are no coincidences.
What ended up happening, because at one point Kyle said, for the rest of my life, my birthday will be my least favorite day of the year.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, Hardy, no. This is where I think my resiliency really started to shine through. Mm-hmm. And I almost think because of the oppressively awful circumstances, I was like, I cannot change so much of the things that I want to change. I can't fix the brokenness. Mm-hmm. However, I can do something. And we are not going to make your birthday some lugubrious day where we think about how our daughter died. We are going to celebrate the tar out of you because your life is a gift. And Ella taught us that nobody is promised tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you didn't see it coming or what. Like, we are all finite. And so we're going to make the most out of your life, and we're going to celebrate you hard because that's a gift. You're a gift. Every day I have with you is a gift. And we're going to celebrate Ella hard on her birthday.
Yep.
And we're going to do that by keeping other kids from experiencing what she experienced and what we as a family have had to live through. We had no idea at the time that congenital heart defects are like the number one killer of kids when it comes to birth defects. It is, if you had a child tomorrow, it would be more likely that they would die from a heart defect than anything else related to birth. And Kyle and I, now that we have experienced this, we're like, oh my gosh, this cannot be. We did not know. And also, there has to be a better way. And we cannot fathom that our daughter's life was wasted. We need to know that something good is coming out of it. And also, I will say, our faith has sustained us in this. And although we don't believe that God did this, a lot of people who were trying to support us through our grief said, like, oh, God must have needed another angel. And we, in those moments and to those humans, if you're someone who has said that to us before, we love you and we totally understand that you're being supportive and showing up with us. But also, God has plenty of angels, and He has been with us every step of the way through this process. He has never left us alone. He has taught us things that we never could have imagined. He has used this to open doors for us to help people in moments when other people don't know what to say to them. We have something to say. He has worked through this experience to open doors for me to connect with incredible humans like you. This month, in just a couple weeks, Kyle and I are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to be able to advocate for kids with heart conditions.
Amazing.
Like on Capitol Hill. Amazing. How cool. We are actually doing funding technology now through our nonprofit, which started just as we had a trivia night where we were like, we're going to raise some money. We're going to put it towards heart research because if we had known that Ella had a genetic heart defect, that would have changed her care plan. And if that could have made a difference for her, then we want that difference to be made for other kiddos. Started as just one trivia night. We had so much positive support from that. People were like, when are we doing this next year? So we're like, I guess we are doing this again. So then year over year, it kept growing. We kept having to find bigger spaces. We ended up launching this Ella's Umbrella nonprofit because we realized there are more ways than just research to keep kids from dying from heart issues. And actually, it's such a big issue and it's so underfunded. It doesn't take much to make a really big difference. And so now, this past year, we've been involved in, this is going to make me cry, funding technology that could have saved Ella's life potentially. We have been able to pay for genetic screenings for families where insurance didn't cover it, but they have a reason to test to see if their kid has a heart thing. This year in October, we are going to do a screening event because not to scare anyone, but there is a reality that 1 in 300 youth have a heart condition that they don't even know about. And so we are going to do an event and we are going to screen. Our goal will be to screen at least 300 kids. And that means that we'll identify, statistically speaking, at least one who has a heart issue and had no idea. And we're going to make their family aware of that. So those kind of things are like, oh my gosh. And it doesn't even take that much. I mean, we're just one couple. Kyle has a full-time job at Nidec Motors. I'm working at Up Brand. We're doing this in our free time, but it's making a huge difference. And that in and of itself is like, that's worth fighting for.
Absolutely. You're turning pain into purpose.
Yeah.
100%. I want to elaborate on that because you shared a little bit about the technology. I want to learn a little more, but a couple questions. First of all, when's Kyle's birthday?
His birthday is on May 15th.
May 15th, so it's coming up. And then when's Ella's birthday?
She was born on April 4th.
Okay, so you just passed.
Yeah. So we just had our trivia night, and
Yes.
we raised this year, milestone year for us.
Yes.
We raised $30,000.
Amazing.
Also, we are epically poor at asking people for money. And so at our trivia night, there's no ask. We never want
Right.
anyone to feel guilted into giving.
Yeah.
This is partly because I don't want anyone to associate my daughter's legacy with like, oh, no, I need to give money.
Oh, I get it.
want them to feel like they're coming to a birthday party. And also,
Yeah.
the proceeds of the birthday party are going to something that's really meaningful. But I never want it to be, I don't want guilt associated with this. And
Right.
so for not asking anyone for money other than the sponsors who make the event possible, to raise $30,000 in one
amazing.
night is like,
It's amazing.
yeah.
So amazing. And you guys have 2 other children.
We do.
Okay. And how old are they now?
6, 7. Our daughter is 6, our son is 7, and they always say it like that.
Of course.
Never gets old.
I bet it doesn't. Well, I'm 41. Okay. And my daughter is 6, almost 7. So we also,
You're living that dream.
well, she'll turn 7 and my son will turn 6. So yeah, we are living that dream as well. Okay. And again, I want to talk more about your nonprofit and the technology. I think that's amazing. I mean, and here's the thing, you're changing people's lives for the better. And you don't even know how many people this is going to touch, but it's a ripple effect, right? And I believe we're all brought to this earth for a purpose. We have a meaning. We have a calling. If you're on this earth, God has something for you to do. And we're all in it together. We're connected.
Yeah, we are.
Right? And so it's really admirable for you guys to take your pain, the suffering and things that you went through. I mean, unimaginable. Losing a child, it's beyond words. And you're taking that and changing it into something beautiful. And that is something that needs to be celebrated. It's amazing.
I think you understand grief and loss at a level that I can't fathom, because your own grief is different, and it's
different,
and it's special to you. And I would never want that either. And so I think the fact that you are creating a space for me to show up and share, and actually anyone who's listening to this, like, kudos to you for engaging in something that's kind of uncomfortable to talk about. I think for the longest time, I have tried to sort of tuck in the rough edges of my story because I don't want to be triggering to anyone. But also, I think our culture doesn't do a great job talking about grief and bereavement. I think we don't really want to be uncomfy. And so thank you for showing up and exposing yourself to this. Thank you for creating an environment where we can show up and talk about the things that are hard and not pretty. Because the reality is there's a lot of growth that comes from that. I was asked to be part of something called She Said St. Louis. Jenny Pratt, who is like such a gifted connector and just, she's a phenomenal woman. She invited me to do this. And in this, as part of the cast, she was asking me to share, prepare my story. And I proposed to her what I wanted to share about, which was very positive, very hope-filled. That's kind of like my MO. And she gave me feedback that it was like a little too
Polished,
like a little too
PC.
Exactly. She said, it's okay to be raw. It's okay to share. And so I rewrote my speech, and I ended up sharing a story at the end of my speech. There's something that I had never really shared with anyone other than just like very, very close family. And the response that I got from that, sharing something that I would have always kind of kept behind a closed curtain, and allowing people to connect with that vulnerability, it ended up being such a gift. And it made me realize, like, why do we do this? Why do we try to, mask like everything's okay,
part, right?
or cover up the parts that are tough to talk about? Because I think there is so much growth, and there's so much fighting against isolation of you're not alone in feeling this. And I think the more we talk about it, like, people will say, time heals all wounds. And in my experience, it's different now. But when you lose an appendage, that thing ain't growing back, you know? So grief changes over time, but it's not like, hey, I've come out on the other side of the tunnel and now magically it's like I didn't experience this grief or loss. What I can tell you though is the loss has somehow enriched, like having Ella has enriched my life on a level that I never could have fathomed. And even with the fact that it hurts so much to say goodbye to her, and I would never choose the reality that I'm living, she has touched my family in ways that I cannot even explain. You were asking about Ryder and Lane, and Lane is the 6-year-old, Ryder's the 7-year-old.
And how old would Ella be right now?
She would be 10.
10, okay.
Yeah, we just would have had her 10th birthday in April. But we have taught them, listen, our family isn't broken in some irreparable way. There is a brokenness about us, but it's also something that makes our family special. And we're special for a reason that people can't see when they look at us. We have something that is really special that's inside of us that we get to carry. And every year we take an Ella trip. And we let the kids help us pick a fun place to go, and they get to make new memories because she taught us how important it is to cherish the time we have. And they'll tell people, if people ask like, oh, are you celebrating something here at Great Wolf Lodge? The kids will say, yep, we're celebrating our sissy who died. Her heart got too big. And people are like, oh, they like don't really have a response to that. Right. But it's also kind of like, right, that's who we are. That's
exactly.
She is part of our story.
Yes.
And we ended up writing a book for adults called Unraveled. And at the very end of the book, we talk about the Japanese art of kintsugi and how, have you heard of kintsugi?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. So they take broken pottery. You would love this. It makes me think of you as well. So it's the art of taking broken pottery and mending it with gold.
Wow.
And so it doesn't try to hide the cracks. Instead, it creates them like as a new focal point. And somehow the piece is more valuable than before it was broken.
Wow.
And that has been our reality. Like we would never choose this brokenness, but also we're going to keep filling the cracks with gold. And what we have today is really beautiful and it is really valuable, and it has allowed us to help people in ways we never could have imagined. It has allowed us to connect with new people and do amazing things in the world. And Ella's part of all of that. We carry her with us.
Yeah, she's the reason.
Yeah.
She's the reason. It's so beautiful. Okay, so I've got questions about, so you, 10 years ago, what was that time like after I mean, are you willing to share like what, did depression hit? Did anxiety, like what did that look like after her passing?
So directly after she passed, when people didn't know what to say to us, a lot of people said, watch your marriage is going to fall apart. And
because statistically speaking, oftentimes when children are sick, or you speak to this, you know better than I do. Statistically speaking,
yeah, it does really have a negative impact on marriages in general. And people saying that to us caused us to be like, well, we do not want that to happen. And we have no idea. It almost felt like this scary thing was coming for our marriage. And it caused us to hunker down and say, listen, we don't know a whole lot about dealing with grief of this magnitude, but what we do know is that we do not want our daughter's legacy to be ripping us apart as humans or as a couple. And so we're going to figure this the frick out. We're going to lean into it. She is going to make us the best versions of ourselves individually. She is going to make our marriage stronger than ever. We are going to be refined by fire. She is going to make the world a better place. We're going to be better parents for our next kids. Like, that's what we're going to do. So it almost brought about this like edge, this thing that initially made us feel so powerless ended up becoming like this source of like grit. And so we leaned into it. Kyle and I journaled. Let's be real. I journaled and Kyle was present. And I asked him questions.
He was present.
Yeah. Usually he was like drinking some wine and I was like, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
I
can only imagine how that went down.
Yeah. So I had this like, it was not a fancy notebook and it was not cute. Like my handwriting is awful and it was
It's
just
not supposed to be when you're journaling.
Right. Well, I think I just, when you say journaling, I think of someone who really has their life together and is like, dear diary, as I sit and drink my coffee, I think about reflection. This was not that. This was like, I am angry.
Yep.
I am feeling angry in this moment. And I don't know how to fix that. And someone said something that I didn't know how to respond. And why does everyone say I'm sorry? Because they didn't do this to me. And also when someone says they're sorry, then you feel like this compulsion to say it's okay, because that's what you say when someone apologizes.
But it's not okay.
But it is most definitely not okay.
Right.
And also I don't want them to feel sorry. I get that that's like what every single greeting card says. But also sometimes it's more helpful to just be like, man, this sucks. Because that at least allows the grieving person to say, you're right, it really does. Like
it's validating.
I can get on board with that. Yeah,
Right.
It really does suck. And also just like, you're not alone. I'm here and I'm not scared by this big, dark, scary thing. I'm just going to stand here with you. I don't know what to say. That's like a really beautiful gift that you can, if you don't know what to say to someone who's grieving, try something like that. Just like, man, this is awful and I want you to know that you're not alone. And I don't know how to help you. I know I can't make this better, but know that I'm not going anywhere. So if you need to have a messy moment, here I am. You won't scare me. In any case, Kyle and I, in writing out, our messy bullet points of things we were thinking about, that ended up being so helpful because it clarified some very baseline things. For example, it was really helpful for him to listen to videos of her. He liked to watch her crawling around or listening to her laugh. Okay, for me, I'm just going to be real with you. That brought about this like nauseous response I was so homesick that hearing her voice or watching videos of her was really hard for me, probably for the whole first year. And so me communicating that to Kyle to say like, hey, I know this is you. I know this is helpful to you. And you got to do you. You got to do whatever is going to help you through that time. But also, you need to know that it's really triggering for me. So if you could just do that and watch videos of her in a different space so that I can't hear them, that would be really helpful. I think that's part of what helped us is just over-communicating about where we were at.
Yes.
I also think that kind of digging in and having purpose was helpful. I do really empathize with something that you shared, though, which is how I think we both had this like, well, how do we mobilize? How do we do something? I need to do something with my grief. And I do think I hit a point. And if I'm being honest, I hit this point maybe once or twice a year where I just kind of crumble a little bit. And like 90% of the time, I'm really good at like, we're going to make good out of this and we're going to be positive. And that other 10% of the time, I just think this is not what I choose. Like it is really rewarding and it's really great, but it's not what I want. And I am feeling kind of overwhelmed and still very sad. That never goes away. Like I'm saying, I'm always going to have these phantom pains from an appendage that no longer is there. And my life has to be different. So I think it didn't hit me in like depression. I think it really helped to have Kyle. I think it really helped to be able to communicate intentionally about it. But also, it comes in waves. And sometimes it's harder than others. And I'm still working through it.
Of course, and you will be. Probably forever.
Yeah. It also reminds me, though, that she was real. They just did a video. Splice House did a phenomenal video. We're getting ready to launch it on Thursday, like share it with the world. And they shot it for the Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too.
Yeah, that's the video shoot that our lunch made me late for.
Sorry.
But no, it's okay. What they ended up capturing was just like a really amazing gift to us. They like helped us tell our story in a way that is really profound. And when they played it at the eat, drink, love event for Ollie Hinkle. I cried. It was the first time I'd seen it. So I cried and snotted all over myself. And so did Mark Hinkle. And afterwards, he connected and said, this is really helpful, I think, on a regular basis to just be reminded of those feelings, even though they're uncomfortable, because it reminds us that they were real. It reminds us how much we love them. It keeps us from becoming desensitized to the fact that life is not as we would have it. And even though we're making the best out of it, it's still it still
hard.
Sucks.
Yeah.
On some level, that's always going to be a reality.
Of course. It's a huge, huge loss. So before we dive deep into the nonprofits we just mentioned, were you and Kyle scared then to have more children? So you waited a few years, 3 years, about 2.5 years.
It took us a little while to get pregnant. We didn't want to run right into trying for another baby because we didn't want to fill the hole. We needed to process our grief. And another thing I just want to remember to say, just because if anyone is watching who is supporting someone through grief, we right when it happened, we had amazing support surrounding us.
Yes.
And everybody was helping us prepare for the memorial, and they did a meal train, and our neighbors tied pink ribbons around all the mailboxes, and it was just incredible show of support. We had the memorial service, and I have this very poignant memory of the day that I came home and walked into my house, and it was just very clear to me that all the flowers from the memorial service needed to be thrown out.
We're dead.
And that moment for me was really the moment when I felt most alone. Similar to how I felt in my postpartum depression. It was everyone else is going back to their normal life.
Their life moves on.
And I have to live with this.
Yes.
My life is not moving forward the way that I wanted. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I feel if you're looking for a way to support someone who's grieving, find ways to show up for them.
Absolutely.
After the memorial, around the time that all the flowers die, because that is when, at least for us, it was the darkest point.
100%. It goes quiet.
Yeah.
And you ask, I'm obviously very involved in some widow groups and in touch with widows across the country. And everyone says that.
Yeah.
It goes quiet. It just does, because people's lives do go on, and they should. But 100%, families that are grieving, people that are grieving, little things matter. Text messages, cards, drop something by, anything, because we are going to continue to grieve, and in the silence, it gets louder. Right? When the reality hits.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was on a different track to answer your question, and now I cannot remember what your question was. I'm so sorry.
No, that's...
Do you remember what your
It's okay. Yes, I do.
Oh.
Yeah. I was asking if you and Kyle were hesitant
to have other kids. Yes. Okay. So thank you. So we did, after that grieving space, we gave ourselves time for that. And then we started trying, and I had a miscarriage.
Oh.
And I remember that.
Betty.
I know. I was... This is the first time saying this out loud. I was not even vocal about that because I felt like it was too much. Everyone had just supported us through this heavy thing. And I was just no one can really even handle this additional heavy on top of the heavy. And so
How far along were you?
Oh gosh. I did not have to have a DNC. So it was before that, but it was enough that I had gone and we had tested, and they said, "Yeah, you're pregnant."
And your excitement, to tell the families.
We told the families, and then we had to go back. We had to go back again. I started getting my cycle again, and I was like, "What is happening? We cannot catch a break." So we were thinking of doing in vitro because then we could do genetic testing and make sure that
just to be prepared,
just to know for sure that the baby was going to get the gene, that gene from me specifically, and not from Kyle.
From you?
Yeah. So 50-50 shot if they got the gene from me or from Kyle. If they got it from me, they wouldn't have the heart issue. If they got it from Kyle, they would. So
Got it.
to make sure that that gene came from me specifically,
Yes.
we could do genetic testing and do
Okay.
in vitro fertilization. And we actually scheduled an appointment, and we were going to go and I will never forget. We showed up and they take your blood, do the test, and then the doctor comes in and the doctor's like, well, this is a conversation that I often don't get to have with people because I work in a fertility clinic, but you're actually pregnant. And I'm so excited for you, but also I can take no credit for it. And we obviously can't do genetic testing because you're already pregnant. So congratulations. So we left and we're like, well, I guess this is going to be what it is. We're going to figure it out as we go. And the more we talked about it, the more we were like, this diagnosis is not a death sentence. It's dangerous when we don't know in advance. And so we had both of our children afterwards tested, and Ryder tested positive. He has the gene mutation. However, he has a regular echo and an EKG. And right now, even though he is genotype positive, he's phenotype negative, no symptoms. Right now, his heart looks perfectly normal.
Can they develop?
Over his lifetime, they might. They told us with Kyle, you will need a heart transplant in your lifetime. That's based on everything we know about this genetic mutation. You're going to need a heart transplant. But we're going to do what we can proactively because usually we don't know until it's too late. And with you, we know. So they gave him blood pressure reduction medication and just a couple of other things that he's on. He takes medicine in the morning and at night. And year over year, he's gone in and he's gotten to a point where I think for the past 2 years, they've said things have kind of normalized. At the beginning, he had his first scan and they said, yeah, your heart's bigger than it should be, but it's still in the normal range. So you don't need to go on. There's no action that needs to be taken, no exercise modifications, nothing. We're just going to watch it. And once it starts to get closer to the end of the range, then we'll take action. And so now he goes in and he gets his scans. And year over year, the first couple of years, they said, yeah, it's a little bigger than last year, but still within normal range. Your injection fraction is strong. And so now this past 2 years, they're like, things have kind of leveled out. Like, we're not really seeing a change. So it is possible that he might not need a heart transplant.
Amazing. Now, is he eating, exercising, like doing all the things you're supposed to be doing?
He is healthy as a horse. And he's always been a healthy guy. So he's doing the things right. He's taking the medicine. They're proactively watching. I always say to him, like, I wonder how many people have something like this and don't even know.
So, listen, I do not want to make this about me at all, but interestingly enough, I last year thought I was having a heart attack, went into the ER. Nope, it was just an anxiety attack. But they took a picture of my heart because I thought my mom passed away of a heart attack. My heart is slightly enlarged. I know. And they're like, oh, it's fine though. But it's always stuck with me. I'm like, is there something wrong with my heart? And you're making me think I need to go get this testing done.
This is for this one gene mutation. It could be dilated cardiomyopathy.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope that it's not. But also, I think it is. It makes me feel better to know that they are operating based on the information they have of sick people that have come in and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And they don't have information because we don't have like regular heart testing on humans.
Right.
Unless there's a reason to look for it. So I'm just like prayerfully hoping that it's never an issue for him, that he's always going to have his scan and they're always going to say, still looks normal.
Right.
So I don't know if it's the medicine. I don't know what's happening, but.
Or God's the almighty physician.
That's right. And so even though Ryder has it, his heart looks perfectly normal. Good. No issues there. And Lane does not have the gene mutation. So.
Ryder and Lane is like a brand. It reminds me of that Riley and whatever. It could be like a brand. You know what I mean? Like a clothing brand. That's what I picture in my mind. So cute.
Yeah, they love that they have the Ys, and they both have Ys, just like Kyle. And Lane pointed out, like, you have one too, Betty, at the end of your name. I'm like, you're right.
There's a Y in there.
You're right. It's not quite as cool as Kyle, Lane, and Ryder, but
Betty's a beautiful name.
Thank
and the
you.
Y is just the icing on the cake.
Thanks.
Wow. Okay. So life's good for you guys. The kids are thriving in school. Everything's amazing. They're healthy. They're happy.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Okay. So now let's talk about Ella's Umbrella, what it's doing, what it's done, the technology you guys have funded. Can we go a little bit deeper into that? And also I want to talk more about your event that's coming up and how people can come to it and support it.
Yes. So like I was saying before, even though heart issues are so common, the funding for them is so limited that even like the smallest investment can make a huge impact. Here's one example. So at Children's Hospital, there is a 3D print lab where I believe the print lab was probably established so that they could print models of organs that they're going to do surgeries on and kind of practice, and they do that. However, they're doing some really innovative stuff in the cardiology space, and one thing in particular, there is a cardiac surgeon that will do like valve replacement surgeries or valve repair, because that's a common thing that kids need. And whenever I'm sorry if I'm butchering this for anyone who's like in the medical profession, but I'm not a doctor. In order to do surgery on the heart, they have to put the child on bypass, which makes the heart deflate like a balloon. So they do the surgery, and in the past, the only way to test if the repair was effective is to take them off bypass and let the blood flow back into the heart and see, and then they get, and then you just stitch them back up, send them out. If there's an issue, then they need a follow-up surgery. And so the surgeons do their best work, but this pediatric cardiologist said, what if there was a way for us to pressure test the heart before we took the child off bypass? It wouldn't take that much longer in surgery. And really what we need is just like this little piece of plastic. So we help fund a project to print this new piece of equipment that allows them to pressure test the kid's heart and just make sure the valve repair is good. There's nothing that they need to adjust before they take the kid off of bypass. Less than $5,000 it took to push that across the finish line. Yes. So this is not like $3 million.
What? Why is this underfunded? Why aren't people funding this? $5,000.
Right. So things like that are mind-blowing to me. But
this just doesn't add up.
It's partly innovation. It's partly like a passion. I mean, this pediatric surgeon is a phenomenal gift.
But how is heart failure in children not a priority?
So it is, when you think of it, it is a subsect. Children are a small portion of the population. So when you think of like big money that's going to go towards things, if you want to impact the most people possible, you want to try to attack things like cancer that's killing a huge portion of the population. So for kiddos, first of all, they don't even know all of the kids that have heart issues because there's not like robust testing.
This is 2026. Literally, there's robots. You don't even have to open your phone up. You speak, and then something will come up and be delivered at your door practically.
I know. So you and I are on the same page of like, oh my gosh, we can make really big moves here.
With AI technology, how are we not curing these diseases? And also, I want you to know too, pancreatic cancer is in the same boat because it only affects a subset, a small subset of cancer patients. It's one of the most deadly cancers, but is one of the least funded cancers.
So same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exact same thing. Anytime you're dealing with a limited population, you really need advocates. You need advocates to share the story and get people to have awareness.
Yes.
That is.
And private funding.
So another thing that's really cool, there is a technology that's called VentryPoint, so you heard from my story that when Ella was sedated, that's when she flatlined.
Yes.
Heart kiddos they're in a very delicate state already. And so any amount of sedation is not great for kids, for anyone, really, like minimize sedation, but particularly for children, it's not great. And for heart kids, it's very dangerous. We have a friend, and they actually have an organization called Jovi's Joy Their daughter, Jovi, was sedated for a cardiac MRI, and she flatlined. They almost lost her. They were able to bring her back. Jovi is alive and thriving today, praise God. But also, their family is very involved. They co-hosted an event for us to raise money for technologies like VentryPoint, which provides some 3D imaging that is just based on an echocardiogram. So it is like an ultrasound that you would do like if you had a baby, and they can do that for the heart. And this technology uses AI. I won't get out over my skis with trying to explain how it extrapolates the imagery, but it basically gives doctors more of a 3D look at the child's heart without having to sedate them to be totally still for a cardiac MRI. And so this is already a technology that is available. It's like on the coasts. And so Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation, Jovi's Joy, and Ella's Umbrella, we're all kind of linking arms to say, like, why don't we bring that, like, inland? Why don't we kind of have a hub here with Cardinal Glennon and St. Louis Children's Hospital. We've got some, like, powerhouse child care facilities around here. So we're working to get VentryPoint at Glennon first, but our goal will be to get it at all the major children's hospitals in this area. Things
all
like
over
that.
the world. I mean, let's get it in all the hospitals in the U.S.
I mean, that would be great, right? I mean, we start small, start somewhere.
So what is that? What is it going to take to get that?
Great question. I think because the technology is already released, I think they said it's like $100,000 to get it fully operational in a hospital. So to me, $100,000 is a lot of money. However,
per hospital?
Yeah, per hospital. So right? This is what I'm saying to you. We don't have to like actually move mountains to save kids' lives. We just need a little bit of stewardship and a little bit of strategic intervention and advocacy.
Okay, so I always say, if you're a billionaire or have hundreds of millions of dollars, you could you pick a cancer and donate, right? Or pick a disease. That's what I'm going to start saying now. Pick a disease and donate promising research. Donate to promising research. And, you know, I'm not trying to tell people what to do with their money, but they will never be able to spend and use. But you could change people's lives.
Oh my gosh.
The world.
It's insane. Okay, so let me tell you about this other thing that always makes me want to cry a little bit.
Okay.
This is one that's more cutting edge because it's not fully through FDA testing yet. They're working on it. I just found out that they are starting human trials, hopefully later this year. So, IntelliStent. Right now, once again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to give you like the Betty version, and nobody like report me. This is just my understanding.
Yeah.
Right now, when a child has what Ella has, dilated cardiomyopathy, what she had, there are 3 treatment plans. Number 1, they can do what they did for Ella, which is to give her oral medicine, and it's like blood pressure reducing. That's what they have Kyle on now. In a lot of cases, their heart is so large that it's not enough to relieve the pressure, and it was ineffective for Ella. Common. The other 2 options, one of them, which is really the only solution, is a heart transplant, which means another kid has to die. The heart has to be available. They have to be a blood type match. Like, your kid has to be healthy enough to receive a transplant. All of the stars need to be aligned in order for this to actually be a viable option. Option number 3 is super barbaric. No doctor wants to do it. It's called banding. So they put a literal band around the artery that brings the blood into the heart, and they constrict the flow. That allows the pressure from the heart to go off enough for the heart to normalize in size. And sometimes it can save a kid's life. 30% of the time, the kid dies on the operating table, and that's why no one wants to do it. Also, anytime they do banding, they have to go back in for an additional surgery because the band doesn't grow with the child. It's like Dark Ages stuff that we're trying to do to fix a problem. And there is a new solution called IntelliStent. And when they showed it to me, they showed me like a little digital animation of how this works. It can be placed in the cath lab. It goes up under the kid's arm. They place it with a stent. And it looks kind of like a birdie, like a netted, like that you would play badminton with, except without the plastic tip. It's all kind of a netted thing that goes out. So they can place a couple of those. It's very low tech. That allows two things. Number one, it controls the flow of blood to the heart. I'm sorry, I keep hitting the mic.
It's fine. It's not going to get mad.
Okay, good. It helps with that, and it grows with the child because of its design. So they don't have to do any follow-up surgeries.
Amazing.
They don't have to crack open the kid's chest.
Amazing.
If Ella was alive, this would have been a treatment option for her that might have saved her life. And we are partnering with this HeartPoint Global, who is developing IntelliStent and helping them push through.
Amazing.
In areas where they are, where it's hard to get government funding for anything medical now. Whenever you have loud voices that come to the table and say, look, we're standing with you. We care about this. We want kids to have access to these treatments. One of the head cardiologists, I was asked to co-present with her on a conference, and she spoke before me. I was not prepared because in her setup, she said, yep, I have a 3-year-old boy who is waiting. He's waiting for a heart transplant. And
you didn't know this before you were going to speak? Okay.
No.
Okay.
She said he's waiting for a heart transplant. And this week we had to go in and do what we needed to do. And he did not make it. And this is why we are trying to get IntelliStent out there. And this is her job. She is passionate about it. Wow. She was able to articulate that in a way that she was not emotional. She was very convincing. And then they tossed it over to me. And I was like,
of course,
crying because I'm putting myself in the shoes of that family, of that 3-year-old. And it's like, man, if we could have had this available for him, that's what I want. That's what I want for that family. That's what I would have wanted for Ella.
That's why there's urgency. There's urgency. There really is. And I try to, in raising money for pancreatic cancer, it's every dollar matters.
Yes.
It really, really does. And it does change lives immediately.
Yeah.
The more money we can get into these promising things, the more lives are going to be changed. And we're not asking, I am, one person to donate, everything. But if everybody gives a little bit, pick a disease, pick a cause. If everyone gives a little bit, we can move mountains.
Yeah. And I think the thing with IntelliStent is that in countries around the world, I mean, we live, even though you might have issues with our medical system and how we do all of insurance payments and things,
we will not go there.
We won't go there. But what I will say is we do have access to some pretty high quality care in the U.S.
We do.
And in places like Cameroon or places around the world where they don't have access to high quality medical care, when a child has dilated cardiomyopathy, the doctors just send them home to die because there's nothing that they can do. And IntelliStent is low enough tech that once it is released, they brought it to the U.S. first to get FDA funding because it's kind of the gold FDA clearance because it's the gold standard. And if they get it cleared through FDA here, they can use it anywhere. But what they shared with me is that once it is released and they're able to use it outside of the U.S., it will exponentially save kids' lives. Because there are no heart transplant options. There aren't even some of the oral medication options that they have here in the U.S. And so being able to put this into the hands of doctors that could save a kid's life with just a cath lab is phenomenal. So
and I want to say here, you're afraid to ask for money. I'm not. So this points to, we're not asking you to donate to some huge organization where you don't know where the money goes, right? We're asking you to donate your hard-earned money, and I recognize that it's hard-earned money, but even just a little bit to something like Ella's Umbrella, where your money is directly going to impact technology that is literally going to save lives, and you can track it. That's the kind of thing I know people want to see where their money goes. I know, and I think that's why Kyle's fund has done so well, is people know that his treatment is getting into other patients and people are living because of it, right? And so the same thing goes for Ella's Umbrella. So if you do feel called to help in this scenario, please absolutely look up Ella's Umbrella and donate. Every little dollar counts, every big dollar counts, whatever you can, It's one of those things, and I shared this in past podcasts, I've been praying and thinking about tithing. And, in the Bible, it gives a number, 10%. And I was praying and thinking about of your salary, of your, your choice, pre, post tax, whatever, but 10% of your salary to the church or a charitable organization. And I was praying about it and praying about it. And I've selected, 2 organizations to do that with, because I feel like God has blessed us. He blessed Kyle. He blessed our family. He provides our money, right? Like he gives us all these things, and he doesn't want us to keep them so we can get bigger houses and bigger boats and bigger toys, right? I feel like, and maybe you don't feel called to do this, but I feel like it's our duty, to give to organizations and charitable organizations and things you believe in, because God has blessed us with all of these things. It's I don't know, it's something that's been really heavy on my heart, and you may disagree with me, and that's okay. But maybe you've been thinking about tithing or thinking that you need to be giving back. I mean, these are really beautiful ways, and they're you can see them.
Yeah, and I think when you live through something like what we've been through,
yes,
it really brings into focus what matters.
And life is so precious.
It is so precious. And showing up for each other, like standing together, it doesn't even have to be a lot. I just, we have an email that went out to our constituent base today, and we kind of shared our annual report from last year. And we also shared about Give St. Louis Day, which is coming up on May 7th.
Oh, yes, it is. Give St. Louis. Okay.
Give St. Louis Day on May 7th. It's a digital campaign. It's put on by the St. Louis Foundation. And they just are in the business of elevating all the nonprofits in St. Louis. And so one of their things that they do is they give like special matches. They give special gifts that are affiliated with like whoever gets the most new donors in this hour. And so
awesome.
We told people in our email, like, man, even if it is $10, like that really matters. Like, we can do something with $10. We have no paid overhead. We have no office. We have no staff. Like everything that people give us is going as much as possible directly. To saving kids' lives. And also showing that we have people standing with us is really important. When we're showing up in Washington, D.C., and we're talking to our state representatives on Capitol Hill, we can say, look at the people who care in St. Louis. Look at our constituents that are locking arms with us and saying that this is important and you should care about it. So just the act of showing up with us, it's not even about the dollar amount. I mean, that matters, but also standing with us is what means something most to me. We do have 2 other events coming up later this year. One of them's a 5K. So if you're into running, if you're into being active, I know both of us are kind of fitness. I'm a personal trainer as a hobby. And so if you like fitness, it's called the Run and Remember. There's a 5K and a 10K option, and it's on August 15th. It's in St. Peter's area, so out west. And then we have our first ever golf outing. And that's at Forest Park. And that is the day of the balloon race, September 19th. And we really want to sell it out. And we want it to be similar to our trivia night, and that everybody who comes is like, wow, I got even more than I paid for. This was so great. Awesome. So that's a way
how do they sign up? Go to your
ellasumbrella.org.
Okay.
For the golf, you just do /golf, or you can go to our homepage and look for events. And for the 5K, I think it's /5K or maybe /run. Just look for events so that I don't lead you astray on the URL.
There we go.
It's all there.
Okay. Real quick, will you give us a quick rundown? We've mentioned the Ollie Hinkle Foundation. Can you do a quick, what is Ollie Hinkle Foundation? How are you involved? I mean, there's a lot to it, but I feel like this is a big part of our community. Children with heart defects, and even moving here, I'm like, there's hearts at all the trees and Olive and Oak, and so can you give a quick rundown of that?
I'm not going to be able to do it justice, because the heart behind the Hinkle family is so incredible. They are part of the reason why we have a nonprofit. They inspired Kyle and I initially with the support that they gave us, but also every step along the way, when I told Jen, like, yeah, we feel like we could probably do more in supporting technologies and more than just the research we've been funding. And Jen said, sounds like it's time for you to start a nonprofit then. Mm-hmm. She could have said, just give your money to us and we can do something because they are funding heart technologies, but they're doing more. They are wrapping heart families in love. Mm-hmm. They are coming along beside anyone who has a heart diagnosis.
Because they lost their
son, Ollie, who was 13 months old at the same time. I mean, same stage of development as Ella, different situation, different circumstances, and he was at Glennon. But when we showed up at Olive and Oak, our friends took us there.
A restaurant. It's a wonderful restaurant here in St. Louis. It's always packed.
It is
amazing food.
You need reservations, but it's totally worth it. Mm-hmm. Mark had never met us in person, and he had heard of our story. And this is right after Ella died. And he came over to our table and he said, tell me about Ella. He had tears in his eyes. Tell me about Ella. And Kyle and I both felt so seen in that moment of him just opening this very raw memory and saying, I'm going to show up here for you. I see you. I know what this is like. I know how important it is for you to be able to talk about it. And so we shared Ella's story and he just cried with us. And then he comped our meal.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a phenomenal gift. But what they do for heart families now, if you are someone who finds yourself in that community and you're in need of support, they have multiple branches of the work they're doing. Mm-hmm. It all started with, after they lost Ollie, people came around them and supported them and showered them with love. Mm-hmm. And they thought, this is what we want. Mm-hmm. We want anyone who has a heart diagnosis to feel surrounded and supported and showered in love. We want them to feel like they have advocates for them. We want them to feel like they have the resources and therapy that they need. Mm-hmm. We want them to have heart care is really expensive and it's a lifelong diagnosis. And so just having access to the funding they're going to need. Some families have to relocate because of being close to a heart hospital. Mm-hmm. So they have all kinds of programming. I would encourage you to check that out online too, because they're just salt of the earth humans. Mm-hmm. We are really hunkering down in this, like, keeping kids' hearts beating. Mm-hmm. They are, there's overlap because obviously they want that too, but they are also supporting, like, psychological, emotional, and they're involved in some advocacy and training and things like that as well. And
they actually have done some things for us too. And they have, is it Clover and the Bee is their bakery, coffee, brunch spot. It's amazing. Both of them are in Webster Groves, which is the most darling little town in St. Louis. They also have an event space that is beautiful.
Yeah. The
hall, yes. I've been to some events there, and actually we held an event a couple years ago. Myself, Linda Hunter, she lost her mom to pancreatic cancer, and another gal named Kelly who lost her husband. We held a dinner there at the hall and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in one night. It was amazing. Dr. Lim, Kyle's daughter. Yeah. So actually I'm speaking with Casey. Do you know Casey?
Mm-hmm. She's their event coordinator.
Today, because we are going, some of Kyle's partners are in a band, and we're going to do a benefit concert in the fall. And we're looking at potentially using their venue.
Oh my gosh.
For the benefit concert. So
how cool.
Yeah. So they've made an impact on more people than they will ever know. Mm-hmm. And it's just a beautiful thing. So I did want to mention them and kind of let people know why we keep talking about Ollie and Hinkle and the hearts that are on all the trees are donations people have given, and then they put a heart on their tree. Is that how that works?
Yeah, I think it is all about showing community, showing we're standing together. But I believe that those are, well, actually, I'm not sure if they're still doing them, but go to Olive and Oak and ask about them if you're interested in knowing more about the hearts on the trees. Yeah. So there's another nonprofit called Mighty Oaks, and I think it might be associated with Mighty Oaks. But they will be able to give you all the information. Right. I just don't want to mislead you because I don't exactly know.
Yeah, always double check things I tell you because I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I give you facts, but that one I totally have been told was. But anyway, okay, so just enough on that. And then I want to, real quick, you and your husband have written 3 books.
Yes.
Correct? And can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so never did I ever think that I would be a published author. This was not like on my bingo card. And people kept pulling us into conversations shortly after we lost Ella, and they realized like, oh, wow, they're actually not falling apart. We need to figure out whatever their magic sauce is and like share that with other people who are really struggling. And so in some cases, Kyle and I would become like the grief support coach for, you know, like if we had someone in our neighborhood who lost a dad and our neighbor said, well, Kyle and Betty, what do we do? Like, you guys are the people who know what it's like to go through something awful like this. What would be helpful? And so we, in a lot of cases, would coach other people through like, hey, this is what we would do if we were trying to support our best friend through something awful. And in a lot of cases, people would just say like, look, I'm so ill-equipped and they're spiraling and I don't know what to say. And can you just talk to them? And so we would take people out to dinner. We would meet for coffee. Mostly I would cry with them. Kyle's not really a big crier, but sometimes it's really helpful to have the empathetic support, just like what Mark did for us at that dinner table, to have someone show up for you and help you feel like you're seen, and also a little bit of inspiration that even though the appendage is not going to grow back, that you can still have a life that has a lot of joy and a lot of beauty.
And meaning.
And we would have these conversations with people and say, look, you're part of this club that nobody wanted to be part of, but also there are some really, really neat aspects of it. Like, I am less scared now of everything.
And yeah, it's an and. You can be sad and grieving and.
Yeah, and still have joy.
Correct.
And I actually think going through something that is such a low low unlocks higher highs. Like when I held Ryder for the first time.
I can only imagine.
It was an incredible experience. This is one of the things that we actually put into the book, because it sometimes parents who have lost a child are afraid with subsequent kids, like, oh, am I going to miss the child that I lost less when I have something to fill the space? It feels kind of like, ooh, I don't want to put anything back in that space. And our experience, I felt that a little bit, if I'm being honest, leading up to having Ryder.
Right.
Like, oh, am I going to miss Ella less? I kind of felt like I had this mommy picture, and that when Ella died, someone just like dumped everything out of the pitcher and handed it back to me. And so my fear was that having Ryder was going to put something back into this pitcher again. And that is not what happened. I think any mom who has multiple kids can probably relate to this feeling of like, you don't know how you could possibly love a child any more than you love your current child. And when you have another child,
your heart just grows.
Your capacity to love grows. And so it's like someone handed me a whole new pitcher that was filled to the brim, and it's my Ryder pitcher. And no one's going to take away my Ella pitcher, and nothing is ever going back in that pitcher. That she is mine always. And now I also have a Lane pitcher and things like that, just like framing it up in a way that makes it a little less daunting, overwhelming, like I don't know what to expect. If you can talk to someone who's lived through it a little bit, that's really helpful. So we kept having these conversations and sharing insights like that were helpful. People would say, you should write a book. And or they would ask if like, can I just take a picture of your notebook where you were reading those bullet points off? And I'm like, ain't nobody wants to try to read my handwriting. Like we're gonna have to find a different way. And so we pushed back a little ways on writing a book, because we felt underqualified, because we're not doctors, we're not psychologists. I'm not a thanatologist, which is someone who studies death and bereavement, although I'm becoming more and more interested in the field. But at the time I was just like, I'm just like a random person who has been through something epically awful. But it turns out that's really helpful insight.
Yes.
And our normalness, like our just basic regularness of who we were, is what connected with people. So we wrote this Unraveled When Loss Changes Everything, that kintsugi metaphor that I told you is something that you find in here.
Okay.
And we try not to focus too much on the trauma itself, because the purpose of it was truly like, man, for someone who feels like, I don't know what to say to to someone who's grieving, but I want to say something. I want to put something in their hands. This is essentially saying, this is what Kyle and Betty, who've been through something awful, this is what they would say to support you in a time that I don't know what to say. So we wrote that to fill that gap, and then we were like, okay, that was a labor of love, very big undertaking.
Yes.
And then people started asking us follow-up questions about like, well, how do you talk about that with your other kids? You know, like grief is a pretty heavy topic, and you don't want to scare, particularly Ryder, who has the same condition. We didn't want to make it like some big scary thing. But we wanted to talk about it. And so we found some really fun ways to bring that forward. Like I said, with our Ella trip, and we have a special ornament that we hang for her on the holidays, and just ways that our kids, because they never met her, can kind of have her as part of the story, and we bring her into the future. And so we ended up writing Never Far Apart, which is a kid's book. It rhymes. It was way easier to write than the other book. But the first 2 pages are, from the outside looking in, we may seem like other kids. I don't know if you can see this. It looks like my son and my daughter. But there's something extra special, and we'll tell you what it is. We have another sister who you can't see with your eyes. We never got to meet her, but she's still part of our lives. So it kind of goes through and talks about how it doesn't have to be specific to child loss, but any loss, a grandparent, a parent, a child who is trying to wrap their mind around this saying goodbye, because that's really hard. But that you don't always have to say goodbye forever, that you carry them with you. So the very end of the book says, if you're a kid like us, missing someone you can't see, we hope you find fun ways to celebrate their memory. The extra special part is that no matter what you do, the person who you miss is always there inside of you. Just know that when you think of them, you keep them in your heart. And though you cannot see them, you are never far apart. So that kid's book actually has gotten more traction than the Unraveled book. And then this past year, we put out Threads of Gold, which is the stories. It's an anthology. And it's...
Let's see it.
Yeah. It's this stories of hope for hurting hearts. And it is like all of the most inspiring humans. I really do think one of the ways that God has used our experience to bring light into our lives is through the high quality people we have met and the things that they have shared with us that they've learned on their journeys of loss. And so we brought them together for this anthology, and we handpicked who we wanted. Jen Hinkle wrote a chapter. Her chapter is beautiful. But there's all kinds of loss. It's not just child loss. There's loss of a spouse. Rebecca wrote a chapter. There's loss of loss of an adult, loss of a parent. There are also some losses that are unrelated to death, like a child with a genetic disease, Down syndrome. There is living through divorce. So the things you wouldn't choose for yourself, and how those things bring about resiliency that you never imagined, and what you learn and grow. So it's like 26 little TED Talks from all of the most inspiring humans that we know, except you. We didn't know you at the time, so you absolutely would have been in our anthology.
Well, thank you.
But so yeah, it's a really neat thing. I've learned so much just walking through life with these humans. But
is there a way to donate? Like, do you have a QR code or something from on the books?
To our nonprofit?
Yeah.
We're really, really bad at asking people for money, so no.
Okay.
However, anyone who does purchase the book, a portion of the proceeds go to Ella's Umbrella. So there's
Beautiful.
a fly page in the back that explains, like, a note from the compilers. Thanks for buying this book. Portion of the proceeds go to keep kids' hearts beating.
Can you put QR codes on your books moving forward? Because it's so easy. If someone's reading the book, then they just boop, boop, boop.
I know. Well, and we did allow each of the authors on their own page. Like this is Katie Bone. She has Blessings for Barrett. They lost their son, Barrett. And her chapter is beautiful. And she has her learn more about the author. But this goes to a page where it's like a link tree.
Okay.
And so it has her nonprofit and her books and other...
You need a QR code for your link tree on there.
You know what we do? We do have a QR code. Now that you say that, I think Kyle and I wrote at the very end and put a link tree for ourselves.
Okay, perfect.
But it is there's not an ask to donate. It's more like, hey, here's how you can find helpful resources, because that's our MO.
Okay.
We just want to help people.
I love that. So beautiful.
Yeah.
We could talk forever.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sure we probably run way over time.
No, it's amazing. It's you are changing lives, and it's why I asked you to come on the show. I knew right away, after talking to you for 2 minutes, that you were someone that God put in my life for a reason, or put us together. So I want to thank you for coming on. One final question, well, two final questions. One, your event, how do people be one of those 300 people to get tested? Like, how do they, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to circle back on it because we're still locking down the location.
Okay.
And then we'll have a sign up. And we're still working out some of the logistics. Like, I would love for it to just be whoever signs up, the first people to sign up are the ones that can come get screened.
Right.
We are working with Parent Heart Watch, which is an organization that facilitates these screenings across the nation. They didn't have anyone in Missouri. And so that was a real God thing that we crossed paths with them. But she shared with us that sometimes having people register and pay a little fee so that they can come. And then when they show up, you give them the feedback so that it's a free screening. We haven't decided if we're going to do that or not. We want people to show up.
Yes.
So more details to come on that, but we will absolutely be loud and proud about it when we get the details. We'll put it out there, and if anyone wants to come and bring their kids to get screened, we would love to look at their hearts and make sure that they're good and happy and healthy.
Whether you think your kid has a heart condition or not. Anybody, just come bring your children. That's what I was trying to get out. It sounds amazing, and I'm so excited for it. I want to help promote it too. So,
oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just was wondering how people go about being one of those 300.
Yeah, so it will be in late October.
Okay.
Once we get the venue locked down and we figure out how we want to do the signups, we will share out on social media. So I'll give you the link, and you can share that out to any of your followers who are interested. It really is targeted specifically for families that have kids 5 to 10 years old that don't have any concerns about their heart. I think we'll look at them either way, but if they're already meeting with a cardiologist, they already know. We're trying to uncover things that you may not know and make you aware of them, because awareness is such an important part of saving kids' lives.
Absolutely. I ask one final thing to all my guests, and that is, if you want the audience to take away one thing, to remember one thing, which I think people are going to remember, there's a lot of valuable, amazing information in this conversation. But if you want them to walk away with one thing, what do you think it would be?
Hope. I want them to feel like no matter what is going on in their life, even if it feels like nothing good can come out of what you're dealing with, good can still come out of it. It might be a place where you can show up for someone else down the road in a moment where they feel like they're at their darkest point, and you can say, I've lived that. I've been there, and I can show up with you with authority. And so I think God is in the business of redeeming broken things. Nothing is too broken for that. So I hope that you feel refreshed. I hope you feel filled with hope. And if there's anything that I can do to support you on your journey, know that I am at your disposal. Reach out to me, and I'd be happy to connect with you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Absolutely. It was a gift.
I mean, a gift for us. So truly, thank you. I cannot wait to hear what's to come. Thank y'all for listening to this episode of the Yes We Can podcast. I encourage you to send this podcast to any family that you think would benefit from hearing Betty's story. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you back next week, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. live.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the in spa.